What's up? What's up? Welcome everybody to the After Church Show with Greg and friends. I'm your host and producer GB, bringing it to you live like we do every Sunday right after church. And on my left is my man Massey. What's up, Massey?
Hey, what's going on? What's up, everybody? What's up, GB?
What's up, GB? And Kai Nicole on my right. What's going on, lady?
Good afternoon, people.
No lovely people today?
Lovely. Lovely, wonderful people.
Oh, if you would, you guys got to check us out. Check us out on Ustream. Hashtag Kai's hat. So she got on a dope floppy. So anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to the After Church Show with Greg and friends. We down here at WXSL Street Legal Radio. You can catch up with us on the internet, www.streetlegalradio.com, and or download the app on your Android device. Also, you can check us out with our website, www.theafterchurchshow.com. All the links are there, all our social media links are there, so you can catch up with us that way. We also have a bar across the top of the page, which will connect you directly to Street Legal Radio. So, welcome to the show, welcome to the fun. This is our brand, and this is how we deal with things. It's real talk, real Christians, strictly from a Christian perspective, but we got a bunch of shenanigans that we throw in there as well. So, hey guys, I was looking at the news this week, saw a couple of interesting things taking place this week. Actually, I saw, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was the, Steve Harvey actually did an interview with Bishop Eddie Long. Apparently he has a new book coming out that he's promoting right now. The interview was pretty interesting. I would say, if I had to use a word, interesting was the way that I interpreted that. Did you check it out, Chris? Did you see it?
I haven't been able to see it yet. I know you saw it. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but
okay.
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, he tries to answer. He tries to give an answer to a couple of questions, but he can't. Obviously, there's some legal reasons, settlements in place, and things like that. But he gave a really interesting response to how we view settlements. You know, and I'm not here to condemn or set him free in any way. But basically, what he was saying was that, you know, whenever somebody agrees to a settlement, people automatically assume in a court of public opinion that the person is guilty. And, you know, it's not for me to say whether he's guilty or not of those previous crimes, or alleged crimes. But what it was interesting that that's actually the truth, though. And if you think about that, whenever somebody settles out of court, we automatically say, oh, they did it because they pay them. But his whole perspective was, you know, it was destroying his family, it was destroying his home, it was doing all these things. He wanted it to be over with, so he just agreed to pay. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, it's all a grain of salt at this point. Everybody wants to move on. As a matter of fact, we're going to move on too. But I just thought it was pretty interesting. And Steve Harvey did I think he did a pretty decent job of honoring him while interviewing him. I thought it was a pretty decent job that he did. But that's some of the things I saw. Then I also, you know, there's been this thing going on the internet. You know that we had. Pastor Bryant had some issues, but then there's this YouTube video, and I encourage you guys to, now warning, there is some explicit language in this, so to my super holy saints, I'm warning you now that there's explicit language in this video. But he was confronted by one of the, we'll call them local community guys,
right?
And he was kind of like telling him to stay away from the neighborhood and all this other stuff, and it made for an interesting dialogue. Because you can look at that video and see the gap, and this is what I'm going to extract from it. But you can see the gap between the church and the streets.
Right.
That's really what you can see. You can see that there is a huge gap between the church and the streets because the emotion that this guy spoke with, it was very ferocious and aggressive, and he was trying to express to him basically. You know, these are my streets, and don't come over here. The church doesn't do anything. And interestingly enough, in a response that you saw, Massey, he meaning Jamal Bryant, actually spoke back to that. Say a lot of the stuff that is done by the church, people don't see,
exactly.
because they don't see it they assume that nothing's being done. So, you know, we were having an off air conversation, and I think that I actually agree with that response.
Right.
That a lot of the stuff that's done by the church is not appreciated, and a lot of the stuff that we actually have going on as far as involving ourselves in the community, etc., is not really appreciated. And there's this sense of there's just not enough. You guys don't do enough. And I don't know about you. I mean, I fellowship with a smaller congregation, so resources are limited, but it doesn't mean that we don't contribute. It doesn't mean that we don't do things for the community. But obviously, we can't feed 250 people or 1,000 people or something like that because our resources are limited. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? I think that we get a bad rap in the media sometimes.
Oh yeah.
As a church.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, there are churches out here that's doing phenomenal things for the community. And I think as people, we define ourselves what community base that the churches should pastor to or should cater to.
Yeah.
There's a community need in the city, obviously. But there's also a community need in the county.
Absolutely. And it's
So-
not the same as the one in the
Right.
city.
It's different. There's Section 8 in the county. There's a lot of Section 8 in the
Sure
county.
is.
So just
Did you say it's not
so just because
Shout out to my Section
right,
8.
right. And I mean, Jamal Bryant has his faults and whatever the case
We all
may
do.
be.
Yeah,
but
everybody
we all
does.
do. Everybody has something they struggle with. Everybody has stuff they do they're not proud of, or stuff they've done they're not proud of.
Yeah.
To say that it's his streets, no, it's everybody's streets. If he was, you don't even know why he was down there.
Right.
Until he responded to say, no, I came down here to support. I came down here because this was the anniversary of Tyrone West. And he showed up.
Yeah, which seems like a legitimate reason. It seemed authentic when he was talking about it. So it seemed as though he really was, earnest in his approach that day. But I guess, that ties into something else, kind of like your reputation can sometimes destroy your best intentions.
Right.
Because the media will fry you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because it was, I guess it might have been some media down there,
Mhm.
to them it was like, oh, you only come when it's, when it's media. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of pastors who had scandals behind them who
Sure.
have done things in the community where there's been no media at all. But that doesn't get talked about.
Right.
Because of the way that media is these days. It's just very negative. You always want to get the gossip story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
absolutely right.
I know a church that they give thousands of food, and I didn't even know that this church did.
Mhm.
And then when I found out, I'm like, see, it's stuff like that
Right.
that
Yeah.
the church don't get. Because one of the parts is showing up. Okay, so we
Sure.
show up.
Sure.
Then the other part is when we show up, what exactly are we doing?
Mhm.
Jamal, you've seen him out there. Now, whether you think he's out there for media or not, he's there.
Sure.
But you see that there are people in the community that do show up that are of the church. But then even he said, when I listened to a radio he did with Faraji Muhammad, he said that there are other things that he does.
Right.
And there's just a lot of things that we do. We give money, we show our support, we show up, we do what we're supposed to do that you won't get credit for. The church can't do everything.
Exactly.
The church
And
cannot.
exactly.
Unfortunately, the church cannot do, and we can't expect the church to do everything.
But people actually do though, and that's the thing that kind of generates this attitude towards the church, like you guys don't do enough, you guys don't do enough. It's like, well, what do you expect us to do?
And then what are you doing? Are you giving your resources and your
Sure.
finances?
Yeah, it seemed like everybody that's not involved with the church complains about what the church does and doesn't do. So, but I mean, it's so unfortunate that this gap is between the two, because like I know the church I attend, for a long time we had a church pantry, and that's basically where once a month they would just give away baskets of food, and the unfortunate thing is, and it's just being real about it, a lot of people came and get the food, wouldn't even come to church. But then when you stop giving out the baskets, it's y'all ain't doing enough.
Right.
And those weren't skimpy baskets.
No, they weren't. They were
Right.
plump
They were
baskets.
big baskets.
Exactly. So
And-
you know about those.
Yeah.
Right, and we're not saying that, in order to get the baskets, you have to come to church. No, but the church is willing to reach out to help you.
Yeah.
Just come and enjoy yourself. We have something to give you other than just
Free stuff.
Free stuff.
Yeah.
Because now you're just taking advantage in my eyes, and I don't care what anybody say.
Yeah.
How they gonna take advantage?
Well, they'll
of
say,
it.
well, they're gonna pull the charity card on you. They're
Yeah.
supposed to do stuff and be charitable. That's
Of
true.
course, That's true. Yeah, but not to take advantage. That's
Yeah.
anybody. If that's the case, then you keep letting somebody ask for money and just keep giving it to them.
Yeah.
Because we all supposed to be charitable.
10%.
If that's the case,
Right.
I'm gonna call you and say, hey, let me get
Every time my
$100.
car payment due, I'm calling you.
right. Let me. Hey, man, my rent need to be paid, man. Hey,
I
you
just
gotta
need
be
to-
charitable.
You gotta be charitable.
You gotta be charitable.
Gotta
So
do
that's,
something.
we can't have unrealistic goals or expectations is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, people.
Absolutely. So, but anyway, let's get into some of the things that we came here to talk about today. So, something that we definitely wanted to get into a little bit and really chow down on was the whole topic of Christian dating. What are the rules of Christian dating? I mean, we're in a time and space where, you know, I guess the most predominant thing that's going on in the dating world is the pressure to have sex, and I know that happens in and outside of the body of Christ. But you know, as it relates to Christians, and we have a lot of people who are dating, and I'm not limiting this to young people. So you know, parents don't get on your high horse and start to point your finger at the kids, talking about y'all need to tune in right now, because you need to tune in right now too. 'Cause I'm talking to basically anybody that's single. Single, dating. You know, what rules should you actually abide by while you're out there, you know, trying to get to know somebody? How do you handle the pressures of sex and intimacy in this day and time? You know, especially when we as we've established and we all know that, you know, we live in a hypersexual time and a hypersexual communities. How do you deal with the pressure when you're trying to date somebody? So I'm gonna turn to our kind Nicole first, because you know, we two old married dudes. Not that mean we don't date, because we still date our wives, but it's different.
That's right.
I ain't that old.
Yeah. But
I don't know
it's
what you're talking
different,
about.
right? It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm joking.
But you know, how do you deal with the pressures of getting to know somebody and then going through the whole, you know, obstacle course of getting to the next step?
It's crazy because I was just talking with my best friend about this yesterday. But it helps if you have somebody who has or if you're talking to somebody who has the same values as you. So you already know going in, there's an agreement, you know, that no, this doesn't work, no, that doesn't work. You know,
Right.
You can say no to the wrong thing at the same time.
Yeah.
That kind of helps. And don't put yourself in positions that will make you weak.
Okay.
Like if you already feel something, don't continue to dive into that thing that's making you feel that negative spirit that's going to put you in that tempting position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just kind of keep those guards around you. And if you're a younger person, definitely, you know, try to talk to somebody who's older. You know,
Oh,
if you have
okay.
problems,
So speak to somebody. Get some help with it.
like if
Okay.
if they continuously pressure you.
All right. So let me turn the screw a couple times, because you know how I do. Yeah. Cause she made that seem real smooth, like it's real
right.
easy.
No, I mean, no,
Like,
obviously.
like it's no
Crazy
problem.
folk
It's
out there.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking back to, you know, when I was actually in a position where I was dating my wife as opposed to being married to her. So we have our established beliefs. So sex is actually a problem. I mean, I guess we can use that term, but it's something that it's a lot of pressure to not do that. But then you have your natural drive and desire to do so when you're getting intimate with another person and getting to know them. So it's hard to kind of step through that. I found it personally difficult. It was very difficult, and that was like that was walking on eggshells. That was not easy, and you know, I fell, and she fell, and we fell a few times. So that I just thought that was, you know, very, very difficult. So, but you said something interesting, and I think that this is one of the main points. And feel free to jump in here, Massey. But I think that one of the main things that we have to do when you're in that situation, and this is where you are, one of the main things you have to do is make sure that you get with somebody that has your same core beliefs, because it makes it a little bit easier. I'm not going to say that it will be completely easy, because we all have a natural inclination to do certain things, but it helps if both of you at least have the same basic beliefs. You know, what do you
Yeah,
think about
I
that?
agree with that. I mean, you shouldn't be unequally yoked because that could cause problems. Having two different views of, I don't necessarily use the word religion, but just having that relationship with Christ. But just kind of going back to when me and Pamela did, we both had the same beliefs. We had grown up in the church. Mine was a little different because I grew up Catholic. Went to Catholic high school. Right. Shout out to Mel St. Joe. Y'all know the best high school is out there.
I'm sorry.
That's all good. But it's a struggle, but the reward is better. We fell too, but we got to a point where we decided right before the wedding, probably 8 months before the wedding, we decided no, we're gonna make this commitment that even though we fell, we will still, make a honor and commitment to each other not to have sex for a while. And it was a blessing. I mean, doors opened from it, so was that sacrifice. But in reality, it's hard because we are flesh. And,
absolutely.
You want to have sex, you want to have that experience, that connection with somebody. And a lot of people say, I want to know what I'm getting into before I get married. So
well, that's true too. That's true.
You don't want to marry and then the person not what you expected sexually. And that's just a battle you got to take up with God and say, help me out with this one.
Yeah.
Because we still can't. We're not advocating, premarital sex.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
we understand.
and that would make us hypocrites if we did that.
Right. We've been there.
Yeah. So I mean, but even outside of it, even intimacy. So what? Because I mean, somebody listening probably needs to say or need to understand what rules do I go by? You know what I mean? Is holding hands okay? Is kissing passionately okay? Where do you say no? I can't do that to kind of stop yourself? Because I mean, the unequally yoked piece, I definitely agree with that. That's like we believe the same things, but you and I both know that even though we have the same beliefs, we'll still make mistakes and we'll still do wrong things, whether we do whatever we believe.
Right.
You're still gonna wind up doing something sinful anyway.
Right.
So it's kind of like, well, can you be intimate? Can you go to the movies? I think one of my rules is, if I had to advise somebody right now, and Kai, you said this also, I won't put myself in a precarious position. You know what I mean? So at 2 a.m., if my phone rings, I can't answer 2 a.m.s. Because they call calls. They rounds with Tutti Frutti. Yeah. We say that's a Tutti Frutti call. But anyway, a booty call. So I mean, you have to make sure that if you get that random text at 1:30 in the morning with the what is it, WYD, what you doing? You already know. You know what I mean? Yeah, where you at? What you doing? If you get one of those, it's like I'm sleeping, and you gotta.
Even our misuse.
Yeah.
Our misuse lead to. You do miss me.
Yeah, so you gotta kind of put up blockades and kind of protect yourself.
No Netflix and chilling.
Yeah, Netflix and chill does not work in Christian relationships.
While y'all dating, just go to the movie.
Yeah.
Netflix, don't even. Hey,
or Netflix and chill with your grandma. That'll stop everything.
With your grandmother in the room.
Yeah, with your grandmother in there.
It depends on what kind of grandmother you have.
Yeah, that's
you got to be the old school grandmother.
Yeah, well, you talking big mamas.
Right. New school grandmothers trying to be the granddaughter's child, and they
right.
Y'all just go ahead. I won't say nothing.
New school grandmothers don't even get called grandma. They get called auntie. Don't you call me grandma in public. But anyway, so all right, cool. So I think this is a good time for us to go ahead and take a break. So we'll go to our first break. Remember to keep tuned with us on www.streetlegalradio.com. Hit up our website, www.theafterchurchshow.com. During the break, you hear a couple of songs. Let us get your feedback. Let us know what you think, and we'll interact with you. You know what? We're gonna feature.
You gonna feature him later?
We're gonna feature. Yeah. Louis just about. We're gonna feature DJ Droopy. It's some hot mixes that's coming up at around the top of the hour. So stay tuned for that. But we're gonna take a quick